December 11th, 2009. The police department in Anaheim, California got a tip from a confidential informant that a parolee was driving around Anaheim in a green Chevrolet with a gun. All units were dispatched to the approximate area that they were told that the green Chevy was in. At least 3 unmarked cars, unmarked units, found the green Chevy, and they tagged him. They followed him around for quite a while. It was, from what I read, almost an hour. Unmarked units were following this guy. This former parolee did have a record. He finally pulled into the parking lot at Walmart, the one in Anaheim, which is at the corner of Euclid Avenue and the 5 freeway. Sadly, this confrontation ended in the parolee's death. Caesar Ray Cruz, age 35, husband and father of 5, was shot to death by 5 officers of the Anaheim Police Department. Caesar's mother, Miss Theresa Smith, said that Caesar had been laid off from a telecommunications agency. I don't know what that means. I take it to mean that he was a telemarketer. And at the time, after being laid off, he was working several warehouse jobs in order to support himself, his wife, and his children. This happened on December 11th, the shooting, right near the beginning of the Christmas holiday shopping season. The next day, December 12th, 50 relatives and friends held a vigil in that same parking lot. What happened? What went wrong? What happened was the unmarked cars, the unmarked police units, had followed Caesar around, and after quite a while they tried to get him to pull over because he had a signal light or something that was out. He didn't. He just kept driving around slowly. The police made their presence known. They called a black and white unit over there. I'm going to move this camera because some gentleman sat in front, and I want to honor his privacy. So anyway, they called a black and white unit to join the unmarked units. Caesar knew that the police were following him. He drove slowly. He didn't pull over. Finally, he pulled into the parking lot of that Walmart, and they boxed him in. Several units got into the lane the parking lane where he was driving through, and they boxed him in. They commanded him to get out of his car. Caesar stopped the car. Officers got out of their cars, and then suddenly Caesar accelerated away. He accelerated so fast that he was spinning his tires and burning rubber. This is according to the Orange County Register article. But he couldn't get out. So as they closed in on him, they ordered him out. He threw the car into reverse and then accelerated backwards and rammed into a police cruiser. At that point, 5 officers opened fire on him and killed him. They found a handgun in Caesar's car, exactly as the confidential informant had told them. He was taken to nearby UCI hospital, and it's about an hour later or so, or less, he died. His wife Jennifer and 5 children and his mother Theresa Smith, they were very angry because the police and hospital officials wouldn't give them any information at first. And they finally told them that he died and wouldn't let them see the body right away. It was quite a while before they were able to see the body. But already I can pinpoint at least 3 things Caesar did that was just ridiculous. I'm trying to be polite about this because honestly, after reading the reports, I got to say Caesar caused his own death. He didn't have to do this. Yes, he was a parolee. His mother made it sound like he was just in for some drug offense, and he also got in trouble for having his car radio on too loud. And that was pretty much it. And that's not true. Caesar was a former gang member in Placentia. He was tried and found guilty of possessing drugs for sale. He was even charged with child endangerment because he shot off a pistol. He discharged a firearm inside a house. He went to prison for nearly 3 years and was released in 2006. So here in 2009, the guy was working some warehouse jobs, making an attempt to get his life together, making an attempt to support his wife and 5 children that he had, but he screwed up. Folks, whenever the police signal for you to stop, you stop. You don't drive slowly, you don't disobey at all. You do exactly what they tell you. And you know, here's another thing. What was he doing with a gun? He was a parolee. He had been discharged from parole at the time, I understand, but parolees or former parolees, they're not supposed to have weapons. I don't know. It's very, very sad. Caesar caused a real problem, not only for himself, but for his grieving family who's grieving today. The Orange County District Attorney investigated the case. They determined there was no wrongdoing on the part of the police. They acted lawfully, but she wasn't satisfied. She did take it to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals finally, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals legitimately had questions about whether he was reaching for the gun or not, or whether he was getting out of his car or still in his car, whether he had a seatbelt on or not had it on. There were technical questions like that, and so they kicked it back to a lower court and determined that he should have a jury trial. Before the trial was held, though, the Anaheim City Council offered Theresa and her family $175,000 settlement without admitting fault. And they took it. They divided it up between 8 people, which is less, well, $22,000 a person. That's not much. Let's go take a walk to his grave. It's right over here. Okay, Caesar's buried right over here. "35 years old. Senselessly died as a result of a bad encounter with the police." There's Caesar right there. Oh, there he is. His mother, Theresa Smith, a wonderful lady. I listened to her for over an hour yesterday on a podcast she was interviewed on in 2019. To this day, she insists that the police were inappropriate. They killed him senselessly, and well, honestly, I have to disagree. I don't think the police killed him without cause. The police don't wake up every day and say to themselves, okay, who can we kill today? I just can't wait to go out and kill somebody. No. Maybe there's some corrupt cops like that, but that's not what police generally do. No, unfortunately, Caesar at the time was trying to get his life together, but I think old habits kicked in. He shouldn't have been carrying a gun with him. Inappropriate, unlawful. Okay, so that right there was a mark. To me, it was a mark against him. I'm so sad that this happened. I mean, he could have been just arrested, remanded to custody, and released on good behavior later, but he didn't choose to do that. He tried to get away from the police. He rammed the police vehicle with his own vehicle, and sad. But out of respect for the family, I'm going to put a stone by his grave. Rest in peace, Caesar. His gravestone says, "We miss your smile, your crazy laugh, but most of all your stories. You're our hero. Your memory is our keepsake, with which we'll never part. God has you in his keeping, but we have you in our hearts." This brings up one other point I want to make. What is lawful use of police force in the United States? Well, it varies from district to district, from city to city, from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Now, since the George Floyd incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2020, where Officer Derek Chauvin pretty much caused George Floyd's death. Instead of getting him medical help, he just sat on his neck for 9 minutes. There have been some changes, but it's still up to each individual police department. Most police departments now ban chokeholds. Most of them don't use chokeholds anymore because that's a cause for financial liability for the police. What about California, where we are, where Caesar Cruz is buried in Orange County, California? Well, in all California, a law was passed in 2021 which requires the Attorney General to investigate all incidents of deadly force. Previous to that, it wasn't the California Attorney General that investigated deadly force. It was up to the district attorney of each county and each city. Well, people over time have grown to distrust district attorneys because they just believe, whether it's legitimate or not, that the district attorneys favor the police and they try to excuse the police. They favor the police. So, California, perhaps wisely, put it in the purview of the California Attorney General. Too late to do anything about Caesar Cruz. I certainly hope his family is doing better. I mean, they're never going to get over this. But again, I'm saying that Caesar did not have to do this. He didn't have to resist arrest. And he should never have had a gun with him in a car. I mean, he knew better. Don't tell me he didn't know better. So, okay, Caesar. I mean, let's all live and learn. Do what the police say, and don't disobey them when they stop you.